Let me quickly quash another lie we tell. And I've been hearing that lie a lot in the security circle. The reason why we don't want to go in there and fight these bandits and recover these people is to avoid collateral damage. It's a lie. I'll remind you, 2020, an American, Walton, was arrested by a bandits group or terrorists, a bunch of terrorists. 6 of them, they took him. The Americans contacted the same Nigerian government. They got intel about where he was. They brought in Naval SEAL into this country, conducted an operation, killed 6 of the terrorists, evacuated the man, took him to the American embassy in Niamey, in Niger, from there en route to America. President Trump went on the air and bragged about it. Our own, we never see the bandits being killed in the rescue. You heard what Professor Bolaji Akinyemi said that day. When we did everything and we're ready for the Americans to be able to fight Boko Haram, all of a sudden, as regards the Chibok girls, we saw that the gas mask, terrorists were already wearing them. The gas mask they were supposed to get. So who is doing the infiltration? And this pattern is repetitive. The question is, when next will it happen? And when it happens next, it's still going to be the same modus operandi. The government will never hear that in a rescue operation, they get these people killed. Every effort to get these people killed, they stop it. President Buhari, the first thing he did when he came into power was he stopped that agreement that the Jonathan government had with mercenaries. So you see, while we deceive ourselves with the false illusion that yes, they are back home, what were the terms and conditions? What did we lose? We lost the fear of the state because the state is supposed to have the autonomy of violence. If there's any non-state actors that has more violence than the state, then go back to section 14, subsection 2. The protection and the security is hampered. Then what happens? The state has broken the social contract with the people. And I have a premise to call for the resignation of the president. So I think I've made that point clear. So while we celebrate, yes, but there's also shame. Egbin is coming on us gradually. Ayo, let's time travel. If we were at this point in time in the 80s when the Metisani riot happened, and you read about the prowess of a military general called Muhammadu Buhari that chased this Metisani people into Chad, that was the height of the Nigerian army. But juxtapose that with today, and if they tell you that the national security advisor of a country will be that one giving assurances to families of those that have been kidnapped that their children will come back home while they have negotiations and romance with this criminal. The first question that you will ask yourself is, what happened to the Nigerian states? The second question you'll ask yourself is, are these the vestiges of a failing state? So my question today is to the security architecture, what happened to Nigeria? Are these the vestiges of a failing state? That we now go to beg to get our people rather than show military might. If you go back to the Nigerian Constitution, section 14 subsection 2, about the sole responsibility of government being to provide security for lives and property, there is something we as Nigerians do in exchange for government to do that. We surrender our sovereignty to the government in a bid for the government to protect us. So it's a social contract. If you read Jean-Jacques Rousseau, what do you do for me that will make me do something in return for you? We have surrendered our sovereignty, and we in turn expect the government to protect us. And that's why when we collect salaries and they remove payee taxes from our salaries, we are paying all of these taxes because we expect them to be able to do something in return. But when they now fail in that responsibility, then there's a failure in the social contract. And when there's a failure in the social contract, people can actually call for the resignation of the president of the country. Because there's a failure in the social contract. So, whatever it's worth, despite the fact that we can celebrate on behalf of those that have come back home, let's not forget that there's been a failure in the social contract President Tinubu promised us. So it's not amiss when people call for his resignation. And let's stop being sentimental. It's not the end of the world. If we call for President Tinubu's resignation, heaven will not fall. It's for him to double up. The second point. Yesterday we have commended the Nigerian military for the work well done. Yeah, we have to save. But Dr. Bati, I don't know if you have the facts. Maybe the president has not transmitted that letter. He needs to transmit to the Senate as regards his activity in Benin Republic.
No, under Section 5, Sub 5, he has 7 days.
7 days, okay.
7 days within which you can transmit the letter.
Okay.
And then the National Assembly is expected to offer its ratification within 14 days.
Okay.
But I've had some bathroom illiterates who do not even understand adjectival law, who cannot interpret the Constitution, saying, oh, the president can do as he wishes. No. The whole idea of that section of the law is to say that the president of Nigeria cannot act arbitrarily.
And unilaterally.
If he goes on limited combat duty, he comes back
and he
to the same National Assembly to offer an explanation and seek ratification.
Very good on that.
But that has not been done yet, to the best of my knowledge.
Coming back to Talon, isn't it a shame? And maybe we'll have to write a note verbal again. Isn't it a shame that in the recognition of the efforts played, Talon is not recognizing us? So the question is, yes, we did it in our own interests. And on that decision, I support President Tinubu because we needed to steady the ship. President Tinubu, you have my endorsement on that decision, but the point I will make is come back and do the right thing. I support you 100% on that decision. But it is a shame that Talon is not even respecting us. And I think the most important factor is that let's stop acting as though Talon is a saint. I think we've established that yesterday. Because if you want to feel the pulse of the people were already saying yesterday, about Talon, down with Talon. This is a man that has used his high-handedness to disrupt the order of things in this country. So, and that's why I was using the word Yahoo African leaders. Anyway, he's leaving next year. His successor will come in. We'll see what the future of Benin Republic will be. As regards Ouattara, I'm sorry, what are we celebrating? It's another day for mourning for Africa. This same Ouattara that we thought was going to be different from the people he fought against, this same Ouattara stopped Tijantiam because of the laws of the land as regards nationality, French nationality. But this was the same Ouattara that a lot of people fought and spoke up for when they used that same law against him because his father had links to Burkina Faso. And they were claiming something called Ivoirité, that you have to be a pure line Ivorian on parentage for you to be able to lead Ivory Coast, until those laws were reversed. But when it was convenient for Ouattara, he used it. This is the same Ouattara that has stayed on in power because all his possible successors that he could manipulate one way or the other, they passed. The likes of Hamid Bakayoko, the likes of Boué, and a couple of other people. This was the same Ouattara that because of it, there was a civil war that happened. We called Laurent Gbagbo the enemy then. But now he has gotten to power. What has he done? So, him saying America endorses him. Yes, America will endorse you because they need your stability to be able to perpetrate their influence.
They need your instability.
No, they need your stability. We will bring about some level of stability because at least they know, okay, Ouattara is there for some time. But the question African leaders fail to answer is then what happens to your country after you leave? It goes back to the mentality of the medieval French king that was fond of saying, après moi, le déluge. That after I leave, everything can sink. Because that's the gulf people open up. This same Ouattara that is celebrating, elections over 2,000 people were detained, 11 people were killed. because he wanted to get over 80% of the votes. Then you put in very watery candidates, like the likes of the wife of Gbagbo, to be able to make yourself look good. So it has just shown with these episodes, both Ivory Coast and Benin Republic, that Africa keeps hovering. And see, when you check the historical antecedent of Africa, this is how Africa has hovered. That's why since 1957, when a couple of African countries started getting independence, to about 1990, Africa as a continent had well over 100 coups. So if you are to juxtapose that with the population, with the number of countries, before 1990, at least each country had 2 coups, if you were to share coups round. And it's because of this level of sectarism. So we thought in the 70s, the era of Bukasa, the era of Idi Amin Dada was over. The era of Matthew Kirikou was over. We thought the era of Arab Moi was over. But guess what? We have gotten into a new era of dictatorship. We thought Eyadema Nasingbe was over. Now Furo Eyadema has put himself there and his extended power. And this might be the challenge of Africa for the next 20 years. And that's why, despite the fact that Africa is the next frontier in terms of development and everything, the future still looks bleak as long as you have these Yahoo tenants in the seat of power. Africa will not grow when you have people like Ouattara, Talon, and other people that destroy the ethos of what democracy is going to be about.